Number 8. Your pancreas becomes a metabolic conductor. The moment you skip that first meal, your pancreas gets the signal. Something shifts deep in your abdomen, a quiet metabolic flip that goes far beyond simple hunger. This small organ tucked behind your stomach immediately starts rewriting the rules of how your body accesses energy. Think of your pancreas as a master switch operator. In your fed state, it's pumping out insulin, the hormone that tells your cells to store energy. But when food stops coming, insulin production drops like a stone, while its opposite, glucagon, rises to take complete control. Here's the fascinating mechanism. Insulin acts like a bouncer at an exclusive nightclub, keeping your fat stores locked behind velvet ropes. When insulin levels plummet during those first 6 to 12 hours of fasting, those ropes disappear completely. Your pancreas has just given your body permission to access the energy reserves you've been carrying around. But your pancreas doesn't just flip a switch and walk away. It orchestrates a precise balance. Glucagon whispers instructions to your liver, triggering the release of just enough glucose to keep your brain satisfied. No dramatic blood sugar crashes, no emergency hunger alarms, just a smooth, practiced metabolic transition that your pancreas has been rehearsing since you were born. Studies from the Yale School of Medicine show that this pancreatic switch typically occurs around hour 8 of fasting, which is why that morning feels different when you've skipped dinner the night before. Your body has shifted from storage mode to fuel release mode, and your pancreas conducted the entire symphony without you noticing a thing. Number 7. Your liver transforms into a fuel factory. Around the 12-hour mark, your liver undergoes a complete identity change. What started as a storage warehouse becomes an active manufacturing plant. Your liver's glycogen reserves, which stored glucose from your last meal, start running low. And that's when things get interesting. Your liver fires up a completely different production line called ketogenesis. Think of your liver as a restaurant with 2 kitchens. The main kitchen serves glucose, the fuel your body normally runs on. But when glucose supplies get tight, the specialty ketone kitchen opens for business, and it starts cooking with a completely different ingredient, your stored fat. These ketones aren't just emergency backup fuel, they're premium grade. They can cross directly into your brain, providing clean-burning energy that's surprisingly efficient. Researchers at Johns Hopkins found that ketones actually produce more ATP, cellular energy, per unit of oxygen than glucose does. Your liver is literally upgrading your fuel quality. But here's what makes this transformation weird. Your liver needs several hours to ramp up full ketone production. The first 12 to 16 hours can feel wobbly for some people because your brain is caught between fuel sources. Not quite enough glucose, not quite enough ketones yet. It's like switching from city driving to highway cruising. There's a transition period before everything flows smoothly. Once ketone levels climb past 0.5 millimoles per liter, many people experience unexpected mental clarity. Your brain starts running on this mixed fuel system. Part glucose from remaining reserves, part ketones from fat breakdown. The organ that usually just processes what you eat becomes an active participant in keeping you energized, pulling from reserves you forgot you had. Number 6. Your fat cells. Become active workers. Fat cells are nothing like the lazy storage units most people imagine. The moment insulin drops and glucagon takes over, these cells transform into incredibly active workers. They start dismantling triglycerides, those 3-part fat molecules your body uses for long-term energy storage. Think of it like molecular Lego sets being taken apart piece by piece. Your fat cells break down triglycerides into fatty acids and glycerol, then release them into your bloodstream like a carefully managed inventory system. Each fat cell opens its reserves like a tiny vault, releasing the energy your body saved for moments exactly like this. Here's where it gets fascinating. This isn't random energy release. Your muscles grab those fatty acids and burn them directly for fuel. Meanwhile, your liver takes the glycerol and converts it back into glucose for cells that absolutely need it, like red blood cells and certain brain regions that can't use fat for energy. Nothing gets wasted because your body treats stored fat like a well-organized warehouse, pulling exactly what it needs from exactly the right shelves. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that during a 24-hour fast, your body can release and burn anywhere from 0.5 to 1 pound of stored fat. This is why energy levels feel surprisingly stable even when you haven't eaten. You're not running on empty at all. You're running on a different fuel source that's been waiting there all along. Some people describe feeling physically lighter during fasting, and there's a neurological reason for this. Your body is finally accessing energy that's been locked away, and your brain interprets this metabolic shift as increased availability rather than deprivation. Your fat cells transform from passive storage into active participants in keeping you going, proving they were never the problem. They were always part of the solution. Number 5. Your stomach and gut. Deploy the cleaning crew. Your stomach has a cleaning crew that only shows up when the restaurant is closed. It's called the migrating motor complex, or MMC, and it's essentially a deep clean cycle that sweeps through your entire digestive tract when there's no food to process. Think of your gut like a restaurant kitchen. During operating hours, the staff is too busy cooking and serving to do deep cleaning, but when the restaurant closes and the last customer leaves, the cleaning crew comes in with industrial equipment and scrubs everything top to bottom. That's exactly what your MMC does. Those growling sounds you hear during fasting, that's not just hunger, that's your cleaning crew clocking in. The MMC generates powerful waves of muscular contractions that sweep through your stomach and small intestine, pushing out bacteria, undigested food particles, and cellular debris that accumulated during your fed state. Here's what makes this process weird. It happens in predictable 90-minute cycles. Each cleaning wave lasts about 10 to 20 minutes, which explains why hunger comes in waves rather than constantly increasing. You'll feel hungry, then the feeling fades completely, then it returns 90 minutes later. Your gut is literally taking breaks between cleaning sessions. Studies from the University of Michigan show that late-night snacking disrupts this entire process, leaving your digestive system in a constant state of partial mess. Without these MMC cycles, bacteria can migrate upward from your colon into your small intestine, creating a condition called SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, that causes bloating and digestive problems. But the benefits go deeper. Your gut lining, the single layer of cells separating your bloodstream from the contents of your intestines, gets a chance to rest and repair during these cleaning cycles. Constant eating means constant work, and even your intestinal cells need downtime between shifts. A 24-hour fast gives this system time to complete several full cleaning cycles, leaving everything running more efficiently. Number 4. Your heart and blood vessels. Finally, relax. Your cardiovascular system responds to fasting like it's been permitted to finally take a breath. Blood pressure often drops slightly during short fasts. Not dangerously, but noticeably, and there's a fascinating reason why. When you're constantly eating, your body is constantly managing the metabolic chaos that comes with digestion. Your sympathetic nervous system, the fight-or-flight system, stays partially activated to handle post-meal blood sugar fluctuations. Think of it like driving through stop-and-go traffic. Your cardiovascular system is constantly hitting the gas and brakes. During fasting, insulin levels drop and reduce blood pressure because insulin causes your kidneys to retain sodium. Less insulin means less sodium retention, which means less fluid in your bloodstream, which means your heart doesn't have to pump as hard to circulate blood throughout your body. But here's the weird part. Your heart rate variability, which measures how well your heart adapts its rhythm to different situations, often improves during fasting periods. This suggests your autonomic nervous system is functioning more smoothly. Researchers at the Intermountain Medical Center found that fasting triggers a 1,300% increase in human growth hormone for men and 2,000% for women, which helps preserve muscle mass and supports cardiovascular health. Some people notice they feel calmer or more centered during fasts, and this cardiovascular shift explains why. Your heart transitions from managing metabolic chaos to a steadier, more predictable workload. Blood flows more efficiently with fewer spikes and drops, demanding emergency adjustments. It's like switching from drumming through a loud concert to playing a steady rhythm in a quiet room. Your cardiovascular system finally gets to settle and find its groove. But there's a crucial caveat. If you feel dizzy or lightheaded during fasting, it's usually about electrolytes and hydration, not your heart failing. Your kidneys handle sodium differently when insulin is low, so you might need more water and minerals than usual. Once electrolyte balance is restored, your heart settles into that quieter rhythm, proof that rest can be a form of strength. Number 3. Your hormones. Orchestrate a complete recalibration. Fasting triggers hormonal changes that sound almost too good to be true. Human growth hormone levels can increase dramatically, sometimes doubling or even tripling during 24 hours without food. But before you get too excited, understand what growth hormone actually does in adults. Growth hormone in adults isn't about getting taller, it's about maintenance and repair. It helps preserve lean muscle mass while your body burns fat for fuel. Think of it as your body's way of saying, we're accessing stored energy, but we're not going to cannibalize the muscles we might need later. It's a protective mechanism that evolved to keep our ancestors strong during periods of food scarcity. Then there's leptin, the hormone that usually signals fullness and satisfaction. Leptin drops during fasting, which should theoretically make you hungrier. But here's the weird part. Hunger doesn't always follow the same pattern. You might feel less hungry at hour 20 than you did at hour 6. This disconnect happens because your brain and your hormones don't always agree on when you should feel hungry. Leptin is sending low fuel signals, but your brain weighs multiple other factors. Ketone levels, stress hormones, sleep quality, circadian rhythms, creating its own hunger logic that sometimes overrides what the hormones are saying. Ghrelin, your primary hunger hormone, shows a fascinating pattern during fasting. It rises in waves that correspond with your usual meal times. Your body anticipates food at 8 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m. because that's when you've trained it to expect meals. But if you push through those waves without eating, ghrelin levels actually drop again. Your body stops asking for food when it realizes none is coming. Studies from the Salk Institute show that fasting also improves insulin sensitivity, meaning your cells become more responsive to insulin signals when you do eat again. This metabolic flexibility, your body's ability to switch between fuel sources efficiently, is a superpower that modern constant eating has dulled. Fasting sharpens it again. Number 2, your cells. Activate the recycling program. Autophagy is probably the most overhyped benefit of fasting, but it's also genuinely fascinating when you understand what's actually happening. The word literally means self-eating, but think of it more accurately as your cell's recycling program. During fasting, cells start tagging damaged proteins and worn-out cellular components for breakdown and reuse. It's like having a crew come through your house and identify everything that's broken, outdated, or no longer serving a purpose, then using those materials to fix other things that need repair instead of just throwing them away. This process ramps up gradually during fasting and becomes more pronounced with longer periods without food. A 24-hour fast gives you a taste of autophagy, but it's more like light housekeeping than a complete home renovation. Your cells are doing quality control, not demolition. Here's the mechanism. Damaged mitochondria, i.e., the power plants of your cells, get recycled. Misfolded proteins that could potentially cause problems get cleared out. Cellular debris that accumulated during your fed state gets processed through proper channels. Your cells don't just randomly break things down for the sake of it, they specifically target the components that aren't working properly. The beauty of autophagy lies in its selectivity. Yoshinori Ohsumi won the 2016 Nobel Prize in Medicine for discovering the mechanisms of autophagy, revealing how cells identify which components need recycling and which should be preserved. It's like a very smart recycling system that knows the difference between trash and treasure. Research from the University of Southern California shows that autophagy plays a crucial role in preventing neurodegenerative diseases, cancer, and cellular aging. But here's the realistic perspective. 1. 24-hour fast triggers autophagy, but the profound benefits come from regular practice over time, not from a single fasting session. This cellular cleanup happens all the time at low levels, but fasting gives it space to work more efficiently. Think of it like your computer's maintenance programs. They run in the background constantly, but they work much better when you're not actively using every application simultaneously. Number 1. Your brain switches to premium fuel. Your brain during a 24-hour fast becomes like a hybrid car switching between fuel sources. As ketone levels rise throughout the day, your brain starts running on a sophisticated mixture of glucose and ketones, and the effects can be surprisingly profound. Many people report feeling mentally sharper during fasts, and there's solid evolutionary logic behind this response. A hungry brain needed to be an alert brain, one capable of finding food, avoiding danger, and making smart decisions under pressure. Your ancestors who became sluggish and foggy when hungry didn't survive long enough to pass on their genes. You inherited a brain that sharpens its focus when food becomes scarce. But here's what makes this response weird. It's highly conditional. If you're well rested, hydrated, and not chronically stressed, that mix of glucose and ketones can create a calm, focused mental state that feels almost meditative. Your prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision making and focus, often shows enhanced activity when running on ketones. Research from the National Institute on Aging found that ketones actually increase the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a protein that supports the growth of new neural connections and protects existing neurons. Your fasting brain isn't just maintaining itself, it's potentially upgrading its hardware. But if you're sleep deprived, dehydrated, or stressed, fasting can make you feel foggy instead of focused. The brain's response to fasting depends heavily on everything else going on in your system. When the conditions are right, ketones provide clean burning fuel that many people describe as clear-headed energy, without the jittery edge of caffeine. Here's the crucial individual variation. Your brain's fuel switch is highly personal. Some people hit their cognitive zone at hour 16, others at hour 20, and some never feel mentally sharp while fasting. There's no universal experience because brains are different, and what works depends on your sleep quality, stress levels, hydration, electrolyte balance, and countless other factors you're not consciously tracking. The key insight? Your brain doesn't just flip a switch and suddenly work better on ketones. It's a gradual transition that requires the right conditions, and for some people, those conditions never align during a 24-hour fast. Your body knows what it's doing, but that doesn't guarantee you'll subjectively feel amazing every time. Every change began with something ordinary, an empty stomach, and a quiet pause that let your body remember how to take care of itself. Your pancreas conducted a metabolic symphony. Your liver opened a specialty fuel kitchen, your fat cells became active energy providers, your gut ran its cleaning cycles, your heart found its steady rhythm, your hormones recalibrated, your cells recycled damaged components, and your brain switched to premium fuel. The shift from ordinary hunger to metabolic transformation happens quietly, without fanfare. It's a reminder that your body is constantly adapting, constantly working behind the scenes to keep you alive and functioning, even when you're not paying attention. We explain the fascinating science your body performs every day. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.